my name is Alexandra, and welcome to our new mini series of top engineering challenge winners. Thank you for being with us here today.
Yeah, thank you.
To start, just to have a brief explanation and a motive, we've decided to create this new short mini series simply so that everyone, including our viewers and our engineers, can get to know better the best challenge winners so far, including yourself. So the interview is based on 3 parts. Firstly, the introduction, the motivations for participating in engineering challenges, and to conclude, the final learning moments. And each part has approximately 4 to 5 questions where you will then be able to share your experience solving and winning a challenge with us. Okay, amazing. So to begin, we'll start with the introduction. So if you could briefly introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, so my name is Nathan Manser, and I'm a senior lecturer at Michigan Technological University. So I teach kind of a variety of topics, but they all relate to the extraction engineering industry. So like mining, geological engineering. And then I also work with first-year engineering students, kind of getting their feet wet in terms of problem solving and building their confidence there.
Okay, that's great. And so where are you from, and where do you currently live? In Michigan, right?
Yeah, right. So yeah, I'm from the upper Midwest of the United States. So it's kind of right in the middle of the Great Lakes region. And the place I work at is in the state of Michigan, really close to Lake Superior. So it's kind of like a really cool natural setting. Not a lot of population around us.
I can imagine. And you already slightly mentioned, but what do you dedicate yourself to?
Yeah, so most of my time is spent kind of delivering coursework around mining engineering and water engineering problems, but then also I do quite a bit of service work. So I lead professional organizations in my region that are dedicated to the 4 main core principles of mining, metallurgy, and exploration. So kind of looking at how the geosciences are all represented within my local region. So I do a lot of work kind of making sure that the professionals in this area stay connected throughout the year and that we can kind of share what's going on in all of our different experiences. And then I also have 2 really small kids, so they definitely acquire probably the most time of anything. So yeah, I would say that's kind of where I focus things.
Okay, no, great. And why did you choose engineering as your studies?
Oh boy. Well, I think I always knew I was really interested in problem solving and things like that. And then mining was just a really cool application for me. That's how it all started. I saw a couple of mines when I was maybe in high school, and the large scale nature of that engineering feat and kind of the outside aspect of the work really drew me to it. And then it was a good fit for me from the beginning. So I think there was no question that engineering was it. Yes.
That's amazing. And okay, now we'll be going to part 2, which is motivations for participating in engineering challenges. So I'd like to ask you, how did you find an emotive?
Well, it was on the website. So I was looking up doing some research about a particular topic, and in one of the search queues, this challenge had popped up, and so I had followed that link and became very interested because it revolves around a topic that I think is really important, and basically transitioning mining to a zero emission type of activity, which is a huge challenge that we face. The demand for resources, right, is always growing. So figuring out a way to do it with zero impact is a huge feat. And I felt that was really a good connection or a really good fit for me in terms of kind of the things that I wanted to work on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And for example, what was a challenge you participated in, and why did you decide to participate?
Well, so I came across the challenge was basically removing impurities from an impurity. So there's in the process of acquiring things like iron ore or copper ore, there's quite a bit of waste that's produced. And sometimes within that waste, there's actually still valuable components that exist. And so this challenge looks specifically at separating some very high quality quartz from a tailing stream from basically an iron ore production facility. And so there were mountains of this waste pile that are dominating the landscape, and within that, they basically had something that had some value to it. And so we were looking at a process to take the valuable piece of the waste out of the rest of the waste, which probably ironically has some value to it somewhere. It's making that connection, which is important too.
Okay, that's very interesting. And did you invest a lot of time preparing your first submission?
Hmm. Time wise, I don't think so. Maybe it was maybe 40 hours total of time, mostly to make sure that the submission fit together well and everything looked, everything balanced out, because there was quite a few different pieces to it. I had to do some investigation and basically on some existing knowledge. And then once I did that, I had to scale it into this particular problem. So I was able to find some literature that existed, taking an application that was kind of related to this challenge, but not directly and not even close really. And then basically changing it in a way that made it fit. And so that was the biggest feat, right? Was kind of making that connection between some existing knowledge and then this very specific problem that the challenge had presented. But it wasn't a big time commitment, as to say, I participated in some other challenges that were very, very time intensive, just because of the requirements though of the submission, right? A lot more technical detail was required maybe than in this one.
Okay, that makes sense. And for example, did you want to win, or did you simply want to gain experience while participating in the
Yeah, for me, I couldn't believe how well the idea kind of sunk up with my research interests and the things that I like to work on here at the university. And so I definitely was motivated by the fact that it was a contest, but I suppose in the scheme of things, winning didn't really matter, because I thought I was shocked actually to see some sort of funded event that was looking at advancing knowledge around this topic. I would say that that's a big challenge for researchers in this area, is that there's not a lot of funding from the major funding agencies, right, that would help you look at this type of problem. Mining is dominated by very large companies, and they probably do a lot of research and development there on their own, but they don't necessarily put money out or put motivation out for others to kind of innovate. And so I think, yeah, for me, it was a combination of many things. It was very cool to win a prize like that, but being in that topic area was the deal for me.
Of course, experience.
Yeah, at least
A priority, right?
yeah, I think so, because it's important in my eyes. Yes, so that experience was important.
For sure. And for example, with the challenge, did you have any prior experience, speaking of, with that challenge in specifically?
So in that challenge, not necessarily. So my background of like biological engineering and mineral processing kind of came together at the right moment there to maybe be successful in that challenge. But up until that point, it was kind of a new knowledge area for me in terms of, I guess, developing that specific skill set or looking at that particular problem to solve. So I focused maybe on areas that are kind of close to that, but not to that particular interest of separating things.
Okay. And okay, well, now we'll be moving to part 3, which is the finalizing learning moments. And
Okay.
I'd like to ask you, for the challenge, the mining challenge, how did you come up with the solution?
Yeah, so the challenge was really specific in terms of what it was looking for, right? In some of the challenges I've seen, they've been very open-ended, and for me, when I read through this, I understood what the solution looked like. So the challenge needed to have a well-researched, feasible technological solution. It needed to prove out to be economically viable, and then they wanted some technical calculations in terms of the sizing of the equipment and things like that. And so from the engineering perspective, the solution itself, what I needed to put together, was really well orchestrated to me. But in terms of the main innovation itself, or the idea, I think it came from existing knowledge from other researchers. So I knew that there were microorganisms that exist that have this, they produce these biological surfactants in some cases, and these surfactants can change the way minerals behave in water. For example, they might be able to float or sink faster, or just suspend slowly. And so those characteristics or those changes basically make how we can separate those minerals from each other, which is how they're found in nature, much easier. And so I thought, well, maybe this connection here might work, because I know that the challenge was looking something very specific. They were looking at silica, and I know that's been successfully treated before with this type of innovation.
Okay, how cute.
Yeah, I wish I could say I just thought of this great or discovered this idea, but no, it never works that way for me, at least. It's always just digging into what other people have done and figuring out how those small pieces kind of work in my
Yeah,
current problem.
puzzling it together. Oh,
Right.
absolutely. And for the challenge, did you work independently or within a group?
No, it was independent. Yeah, it was really small scale.
Okay, and do you think, let's say, even though you worked independently, what do you believe are the benefits if you had to have been working in a group, for example, instead
Oh
of
yeah, it's undoubtful. And actually I was really limited by working by myself. And so the next step, even if there were next steps in this project in terms of scaling up and making a working prototype and things like that, multiple disciplines would be required and expertises. And so the need to collaborate would be huge. And so expanding into chemical engineering and mineral processing engineering would be critical. I feel like I took the project as far as I could as one person, maybe the idea and the proof that it might be workable, but the next steps would require many other people than myself.
okay. Okay, that's fair enough.
Mhm.
And how did it feel working for a foreign company? And would you do it again?
So you mean the company that sponsored the event, or what do you mean maybe by that question?
The company of, yeah, the one who put the challenge, not us, not Emotive, but the one, yeah, I guess the sponsor you could maybe.
Sure. Yeah, I thought that was fine. Um, yeah, I mean, I think so. Maybe it leads back to an answer I gave earlier, is that the largest mining companies or the producers of minerals are large companies, and that happened to be one of the sponsors of this project, was a large mining company. And so it makes sense to me that they are trying to backfill research and development in this way. I think it's very important, and it was great to recognize the sponsor's name. I guess if that's the perspective you're looking for, I was happy to be working on a project that the larger producers thought was important.
Okay, that's great. No, I agree. It's important. And well, we're down to our last question.
Great.
And most importantly, what recommendations or what advice do you have to any other engineers across the globe?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to just stay open-minded in terms of your knowledge gathering, right? We all get trained in some formal fashion, and then a lot of us think that it stops there, but it never does. And the innovations and knowledge generation is so large that you have to continuously develop your professional aptitude, I feel. And as always, right, the network is really important because our problems are really multidisciplinary in nature.
Okay, well,
And it's difficult to be that one person that can do all of those things.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the interview is now complete, short but sweet,
Oh,
right?
great. That was a good experience. Yes.
But thank you for your time and for sharing your personal experience with us. We loved having you and best of luck. We look forward to hearing from you very soon. And once the video is published, I'll be sure to contact you so you can check it out.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. And thanks for this opportunity. Let me know if you need any follow-up questions or anything.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again and have a great day, Nathan. It was great meeting you.